Welcome back, everyone, to Merge Conflict, your weekly developer podcast. With me, as always, my best friend in the entire world, Frank Kruger. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, it's going great, but I'm not with you because I am not in beautiful purple space. James, I hope you're all watching the video. I know, thank you, all podcast listeners, but James is in purple space and I am intrigued. James, how's it going over in purple space?
Purple space is good. I don't know how to change the colors of the bars, or else I would change them to something else that's not purple. But I am in studio today. I'm after hours in studio on the Microsoft campus. Just because I'm over on this side of the water, and I said I'm going to record some podcasts and use the fancy equipment. And they just recently reset up this room to do like on-demand recordings and stuff. So I was in here recording some videos earlier today for the dotnet YouTube, and I was at VS Live, which is on campus, a developer conference. Did a dotnet Maui talk this morning, just that they asked the experts, and I was like, what would be great is continuing to talk even more throughout the day and do a podcast that is going to come out in a few weeks with my good friend Ben Rees, who just released a brand new board game. We're talking all about that stuff, and then we're talking to you. And purple space is good. I'm drinking some Talking Rain, which is the original OG sparkling water from 30 years ago, which is Microsoft staple. Was it here when you worked here? I have to imagine.
Oh yeah, it's very important that you drink. It's not Microsoft branded, but forever in my mind, there are a few brands that will forever be Microsoft related. Also, I have a Windows Vista Talking Rain, so
That's
just
cool.
saying.
I love that. Yeah, no, it's good. I'm really excited. So if I sound a little bit different, I have a very fancy Shure SM7B. I think that's the fancy mic. That's the one.
I mean, you look like you should be a musician. You're rocking the Hawaiian shirt. You're in Purple World. I mean, it's a whole new James.
It was Maui day. .NET Purple Maui happening here. Yes. Something fascinating has been happening, and we've talked a little bit about it in the past, which is the device form that is in everybody's home. And I'm not talking about a phone. I'm not talking about a doorbell. I'm not talking about a sauna. I'm talking about the television, Frank, the TV, the television that's in everyone's home. And specifically, there's been a lot of news, not from our good friends at Apple, but our friends over at Google. And they've gone through about 8,000 iterations of something connected to the TV. And you just told me that they killed something and created something new. Is that what happened?
Yeah, it's a sad day, I think, because although, yes, there's a million devices, everyone knows of this one device, the Chromecast. It's the device we absolutely never talk about on this show, James. I mean, we barely talk about Apple TV, but yeah, I mean, this device is in everyone's home. I think we don't talk about it because as app developers, no one's found a way to make any money if you're not like NBC or HBO or anyone. I'm not even sure they're making money. No one's quite figured out how to make money in this new streaming world. But one of the original devices, one of the great devices, Chromecast, I owned one. I used it because I had Android friends, and they're like, I want to share a video. And I'm like, well, I'll get you a whole separate device so you can share your videos on my TV.
Yeah.
The Chromecast, James, is ended life, dead, buried. What do we say? The channel has been switched. Those bars that come on at night, the programming is no longer active.
It's all just fuzz. It's just snow fuzz. It's really fascinating because Google Chromecast I think it is now Google Cast, right? And the cool part about Chromecast to me was when they created an SDK for iOS as well. So you could, for example, have a Chromecast little dongle, and from an iOS or an Android device, if the app supported it, you could say, hey, start playing this on the TV. And then eventually you could do it on a smart display for music and all these other things that were out there. But they actually had Google TV, and then they had Chromecast, and they had Android TV. And I actually had an NVIDIA Shield, which had an X1 processor, I think, in it. And I used that under my TV for a long time, which also had Chromecast built into it, right? So you could have apps and do this other stuff. So Chromecast is gone. They haven't made an Android TV device in a long time. What is out there
Yeah.
now?
Well, let's start with what's out there is Google pushed really hard to integrate Chromecast into other manufacturers' TVs. So
Hmm.
I think that there's, and I forget which brands actually did this, but there's a lot of TVs out there with some version of Chromecast, the software. So it's important to have the distinction. It's Chromecast, the hardware, that has
Ah,
been end of life here or killed. I don't know, whatever the Silicon Valley term is these days, sunset. So the hardware, they're just going to keep selling out whatever stocks they have, and then they're gone forever. Which, hilariously enough, my Chromecast, I think I have like a Gen 1 or Gen 2, has been working just fine for the last 15 years, and I think I still use it. So everyone, if you can find a cheap Chromecast out there, I'm sure it's going to keep working in some form or another. Like
yeah.
the support. You mentioned the SDK. I never actually downloaded the SDK or integrated it into any of my apps, but feel like Google was using some pretty straightforward protocols because I know a lot of apps were, unless the SDK was just that easy to use, but I think they were just using a lot of straightforward protocols. Anyway, as you said, what's really happened here is Google's marketing and branding has changed and all that stuff, and their strategy of not trying to manufacture cheap little devices anymore. They are instead switching to manufacturing expensive devices.
Cool.
Well, they're not. Yeah, cool. What a world we live in. Inflation, y'all. Um, so instead of what $20 devices, now you can go buy a Google TV streamer
Oh,
TV Plus Pro
oh
for I
God.
believe
The branding.
$100.
The
So
branding. Ah,
what was cool was like this was the argument against the Apple TV because the Apple TV was always like 100 or $150, but you
yeah.
could get a Chromecast for like $20. So you
Free
could get a
for
Fire
free.
TV for free.
Yeah.
You could get a Fire TV for like $20, like a little dongle, jam it into the back of your TV, give it some electricity somehow, and there you go. You got internet TV. Well, it's baked into a lot of TVs now, but it is sad. Those little dongles, like, man, we're gonna have landfills full of them.
So we, interestingly enough, we have the Apple TV. We also have a Roku TV, a little small
Mhm.
one that's around. It's actually kind of cool. Again, there's no dongle; it's just in there. But this is fancy. Google TV Streamer now. This is running Android TV. So the Google TV Streamer running Android TV, which I'm assuming you can also Google Cast stuff too as well. So this is going to have a
Sure.
full UI on it. So it's kind of reminiscent of the Android TV that I purchased a long time ago, the NVIDIA Shield, that ran Android TV and then also the TVs that have Android TV. So this is kind of a competitor in a way to the Apple TV, kind of
Yeah.
back at it. But why is this needed? You know what I mean? Like if we had Google Cast, like what is going on here? Like why would I
Well,
what's happening?
I don't know. If I put on my tin foil, that's not the right. I need a diviner hat. If I can
Mm,
predict the future, a diviner hat. Is that a thing? Someone please make me a diviner hat. Um, I think all the companies just want to have a hub. They want that home server. Remember
mm,
Microsoft Home Server?
yeah,
Uh, the Amazon family of Dingus devices, the Echo devices, they've made great penetration into the home. A lot of people have them. Google has their own home assistants. Apple has their own home assistants. But what you see, and even in this announcement for the death of the Chromecast, was they're like, due to AI, ding, AI killed
oh,
something else. Due to AI, we can't sell you this $20 device anymore. We must sell you a $100 device. So my guess is my diviner hat says that they just want to be a hub. They want you IoTing into it. They want to be kind of the central server. They want you talking to it eventually, and now they want you watching your Game of Thrones through it and that kind of stuff. Yeah,
got it.
that's all I got. You got anything better? Because other than $100 make more money than $20. What else are you gonna do here?
Well, the interesting part that you said is AI. So to me, it seems like, okay, they want to do more on device processing of things to do something. I don't know exactly what you need to do with it, but the IoT connectivity thing is fascinating. The hub aspect of it is like talking to things, doing things. Like my Apple TV is also a Matter or Thread hub thingy.
Yeah.
I upgraded to that. It is a HomeKit, so it's HomeKit enabled. You can connect devices to it. It's the processor of it, which is really neat. Like, in fact, you could use the HomeKit video if you had a smart camera, video camera, and it can process events, like if it's an animal or if it's a human, and it can
Mhm.
securely store stuff. Now, this isn't going to securely store stuff because it has 32 gigs of storage and only 4 gigs of memory, which is very fascinating. But it is also a Matter connected device and also a Thread border router, which, like, if you don't know what those means, the entire Matter and Thread shenanigans is super complicated. The routers, it's like it makes no sense. The one Matter device I have no longer works.
Oh, good.
I was like, I'm gonna try this. This is gonna be so much
Wait,
fun.
James, did you check the thread? Did the thread break? I mean, that would make the matter not mass anymore in a way.
so I upgraded my Apple TV so it can support this, and then my the hexagons that I have on my wall, the
Mhm,
nano leaf
mhm,
things. Those are like, hey, do you? This is what it said. I swear to you, it said, do you want your nano leaf elements to be faster, more responsive, and more secure?
mhm.
Upgrade to Matter or something. And I was like,
Sure.
clicked a, I clicked
Sure,
a
buddy.
button. Now it'll never turn on and it never turns off, and it won't connect to anything at all. And I don't, it's like, is it even connected to Wi-Fi? I don't even
Yeah.
know what's happening right now. Um, that's my Matter thread experience that was supposed to solve
Okay,
IoT
good.
problems, but apparently they want to be part of that ecosystem because I think with Google Home, right? It's just like HomeKit and Apple Home and stuff like that. It wants to integrate into this, so it sounds like they want a proper set top box to be that hub that you're talking to, that you're threading with, that you're mattering with, and that you're clicking around on your television as well. The question is like, is this a space that consumers should care about? And also, is this a space that us as app developers should care about?
Yeah.
Because as you said, you haven't even installed the SDK. I haven't even done a tvOS application at all. Like, I don't know if this is a space for us. Who's it for? Um, and how do we even use it in our normal lives? You know what I mean?
Precisely. In fact, I brought this story up to you, and I was like, "Oh, here's just this funny thing." I didn't think we'd actually talk about, but then I just started realizing I had a bunch of questions about it. Like, James, could you just let's back up for a moment? Can you tell me what the heck is Android TV? How long's it been out for? Does it exist? Has it been sunset yet? Can you just tell me a tiny little bit anything about Apple TV? Because I brought this story to you, but I am woefully ignorant in the Android Google world.
So, Android TV celebrated its 10th year.
Wow.
And,
Wow. Congrats. Congrats,
yes.
Android TV.
Hmm. So it has been obviously in the NVIDIA Shield. It's been on TVs that are out there from Sony, Panasonic. It actually started with like the Nexus player, which was like the Orb thing, basically. I think, if I remember it being correct, or yeah, if I
Mm,
remember, I was out there.
I don't recall an orb thing. Darn.
Yeah, and I think that was the one that was there. But basically, yeah, it's been around for a long, long time. It's on version 14 that was just released in May. That's out there. And yeah, it's been around for 10 years. It released in on June 25th, 2014, which is also my birthday. So that's pretty cool. 10 years
Mazel
ago.
tov.
Thank you. So that was kind of cool, and yeah, it's iterated through the years. I think it modified between this like Google TV and Android TV.
Yeah.
They've rebranded it as Google TV at some point, but now this is obviously the Google TV streamer. But the Google TV runs Android TV, so just
Great.
synonymous to the Apple TV runs tvOS. The Google TV runs Android TV, which makes sense.
Totally. Totally. The Alphabet company makes a search engine called Google and an operating system called Android. and the search engine and the operating system had a baby and made Google TV, Android TV. Got it.
Exactly. Yep.
Yep. Okay, got it. Neat. So Google TV Streamer is the new device, but it sounds like a lot of TVs out there are running the
Yes.
Android TV already. Yeah.
And it runs Android apps, right? So specifically, you create Android apps, you submit your apps to Google, and you have access to Android APIs. The difference is that there's a UI library specifically for televisions, right? That you create for that 10-foot view that's out there, as they would call it. The sitting on your couch way back is different interaction. So the UI elements and the grid system are optimized for televisions and controller inputs and things like that. So similar to tvOS, so very, very similar in the exact same way. Yeah.
Now, is it as annoying as tvOS is kind of funny because you can still use UI Kit, but it's I wanted to say a dumbed down version of UIKit, but I won't. It's the 10-foot, whatever, 20-foot experience you just said. So a lot of the controls don't work the way I expect. For example, Apple has a wonderful multi-platform template. When you say file new app, you can do a multi-platform, which includes a tvOS app. That tvOS app is unusable.
Oh
it's,
no.
it's so hard to write tvOS UIs, to be blunt. Nothing works the way you expect it, and you have to do a lot of testing. Now, there are two ways to do it. You can use the UIKit version that's heavily changed, or you can use TVML. It's complicated.
Hmm.
Uh, have you given a shot at writing an Android TV app at all? Have you? You must have done a demo on stage. You've demoed everything on stage.
So okay,
Never.
so my lineage with Android and televisions goes back to my original job in Seattle.
Hmm. Yeah.
When I worked at Seton, we actually created an Android set-top box that was not running Android TV because Android TV was not out yet. It did not
Right.
exist. This was pre that. We actually uh, put the open source Android project on it. I then
Cool.
developed a custom launcher that in Java that was installed on the device that would create a grid system that was navigable via a TV remote with IR input, because the TV remote is just sort of like a mouse or a click wheel or whatever, however Android is built. So it had all those up, down, left, right things to navigate, and
Okay.
I would move things around. And then I created an app store that you could install APKs in this
I
launcher.
for-
But the main launcher was actually just jump points to a Xamarin app that was
nice.
loaded onto this, that would display as a DVR
Yeah.
device that would display the grid guide and your recent recordings and all this stuff. The problem with that was that was standard Android user interface, which means I was really trying to shoehorn in a 10-foot view into this UI kit.
Yeah.
That's not UI kit, but the Android widget
Yeah.
system that was not really made for it, which means I had to do a lot of manual work for what was highlighted. What's the visual representation? What does it look like to click on things or have things highlighted? Very atypical compared to the Android TV. So since then, I have played around with Android TV a little bit, but probably similar to what you have done, which is file new project, do a thing. But in Android Studio or Eclipse at the time, or the everything in between in Android Studio, now you can create a new Android TV app, and then it gives you the UI for it. So it is more of a standalone, separate thing. At least the last time I played with it, anyone could write in, let us know if things have changed. But at least that was my experience. Is you are really creating a completely separate TV app with it there. Now you still can access all of the normal widgets. It's really just a UI library on top of it that you're
Right.
accessing from Android X and Compose things. But at least from my knowledge, that was really what you were to focus on. But you still had activities and fragments, and the core
Okay.
development of it was very much the same.
Yep. Okay. Pretty similar to tvOS then. Um, it sounded like it's a little easier, to be honest.
Mm.
I I think that's why these TV platforms still matter to me a bit because you mentioned Roku earlier. I have a Roku I actually have the box, the dongle, not the TV. Most people have Roku TVs these days.
Yeah.
But, that box is still $60. I think I paid, like, it's gone up. It used to be a $20 box. I think there used to be a very cheap Roku. Um, but you can't write apps for it. I also have an LG TV, which has WebOS, which I think is actually a really fantastic TV OS. I think they really knocked it out of the park, but I can't write apps for it, so it doesn't matter. So that leaves me Google and Apple, because I'm sorry, Samsung. I'm sure I can do something with Samsung. I'm very sorry. I don't know how. That leaves me with Google and Apple, and so those are the ones I care about. It's a little sad that they're both. I don't know. Can you even get $100 Apple TV these days? I don't even think you can. So sounds like it's $100 starting price for this Google TV streamer, and then what, 150, I think, for an Apple TV.
I'm looking. We have the Apple TV 4K, which is the only one that exists, and that device is
Oh,
$130 or
oh, oof.
$140. Yeah.
Okay, so okay, they're staying competitive, and Google's keeping it cheaper at least. But it is sad. The day of the lightweight little device that's really just a Wi-Fi HDMI port. Like I said in the beginning, I think they're just going to become a little bit of landfill because the big programmable devices are coming up. Still a good thing. You know what I did notice though? There's still no like decent web browser on any of
Hmm.
these TV devices. It's a little weird. I think the web is still closed off from the TV world.
It's true. In fact, in that regard, it's reminiscent of video game consoles, right? Like video game consoles are
Mm.
a much more expensive dongle that you plug to your TV that does much more powerful things, but they have this 10-foot view that's super optimized for this experience.
Yeah.
And for the Nintendo Switch, it's both like optimized for touch and for the TV, which is very fascinating to think about how Nintendo created and developed this entire operating system that is both a tablet but hooks up to your TV, and then you
Yeah.
have a game putting controller with it. There's not very many devices that do that, so very fascinating to think about that. But this device is in a lot of people's homes as far as like the television itself, which means for a lot of us, we might not actually be thinking about the TV as an actual target, and yet it might be an optimal target for our application. In fact, if I look at
Oh,
a
I know.
application such as My Cadence that I put out into the world, which is a
Yeah.
number on a screen,
It might as
I
well.
it could, for all intents and
Yeah.
purposes, actually be on the television. I decided not to put it on the TV because my assumption is if you have your spin bike in front of your television, you're probably watching some workout class that's on there and you want it to be there. The
Right.
problem with the TV is it's even more restrictive in a way than
Oh,
our phones and our tablets, right? It's not like
it's
there's
it
not an it's not an intuitive way of running things side by side or overlapping thing. It's probably to me, besides the watch, the most restrictive thing that we can develop for today, which for better or worse is fascinating to me. Like the
it makes
I
no
the yeah.
sense. I'm sorry. I have to interrupt you because you just triggered me because it drives me a little bit nuts. Like we complain all the time about the poor multitasking ability of the iPad. But at least you can put three apps up side by side on an iPad. Here's this, everyone's got 50-inch plus TVs these days running at 4K, and you can only run one app at the same time? Like, what? Just for reference, I used to have a 14-inch monitor when I was a kid. This TV could have like 20 of those on it if they
Yeah.
wanted.
Yeah.
Or I did my math poorly there, but y'all get the point. It's a little bit, it's a lot ridiculous. I was about to go into like some app ideas I've been having for the TV, but you nailed it. Like, I one app I would love to have is just bring up my Twitter and just scroll my Twitter for me so I don't have to. But yes, I also want to be watching a little bit of YouTube on the side or something like that because it is a TV. Put a video
Yeah.
on it at least. But, where's my Back to the Future 2 TV with like 6 split screens and picture and all that stuff? And don't actually do picture in picture because they did picture in picture on the iPad and it's terrible. Multitasking. Yes, James, you triggered me. Why doesn't the TV have multitasking?
That's to me the biggest hindrance of actually us creating more applications on it is the reason it doesn't do it, in my personal opinion. I could be wrong. I could ask Google or Apple. Is the interaction, the
Lack of
actual
imagination?
no, it's the human
I'm just
the human interaction. We are
Yeah.
restricted by the input device. The
Are
input
we?
device on a desktop being the mouse or the trackpad, and the windowing system is very natural.
Mhm.
The interaction system of using an iPad or an iOS device or even doing split screen on it is relatively interactive because we have a finger, we have a thing on here. The thing with the television, you don't have any of that. The closest thing we had that
Mhm.
was the Nintendo Wii with the pointer that you could
I
move
was gonna
around and do stuff.
say,
Now, and you couldn't actually do multitasking on that, but you could do a lot more. You could
you
scroll,
could
you
do a
could do
lot.
stuff. I
You
think
could
it actually did
bowl.
have a web browser, by the way. It might have had one.
And let
But
me
no,
interject that LG TV stole that. They didn't steal the technology, obviously. They implemented the same technology where the remote actually puts a cursor up on your screen. And the tracking is excellent
yeah.
to the point where it's very easy to click things and do all that. So, yes, your argument stands. I get it. I think we fall back on the oh, our first bad TV UI was hard to use, therefore you can't multitask. Like, I don't know. Throw it out there. Let's work at multitasking TV interfaces for 10 years. I bet you there's a way to do it. Apple didn't invent pull to refresh. It's they don't have every good idea. You just got to put it out there. Give us multitasking, we'll figure out how to make it usable.
I'm wondering if it's a chicken and the egg situation, right? Like, and again, I would love to interview someone that works on those teams, because how much energy and effort do you put into the SDK, into these advanced scenarios versus what people actually want to do on their device? Like,
Yeah,
have they found that really, and to Google to this point for this Google TV streamer, have they found that people just want to endlessly scroll and click on a controller down, over through Netflix to figure out what they're going to watch and hit go on it?
yeah,
Because we don't see many devices at all with, things that you're moving or clicking or
right.
using it as a screen. We have advanced so little in the space of television input that even, I don't even use the Apple TV remote, the little one with the little
Mm,
trackpad thing. I actually use a Logitech Harmony, and I just have up, down, left, right. I'm old school. I just do that
nice.
because I also need to turn on like 8 things in my house. I need to make sure the Apple TV's on, the TV's in the right thing, the TV's in the right input, turn on the
uh,
sound bar, like make sure
you're one
everything's
of those
happening.
people.
Yeah, do all the things. But I think that's what's really fascinating is we are so ingrained into the grid system, right? Because if we think even
Yeah.
in a satellite or cable set-top box, it really only does one thing. It brings up a grid guide and you up, down, left, right, and you skip over stuff. We're so entrenched into like this is all it can do is it's limited to that. And this, like, the thing with the TVs, what you're saying is like they are the one of the biggest electronic input devices we have. It's bigger than a
Yeah.
computer. It's bigger than our phones and our tablet. They are ginormous. They are a huge play field that is possible. And yet they can do one thing. They display one video, one image, one thing at a time. And as app developers, it doesn't encourage me to want to do this. And a good example is like I have a few HomeKit security cameras. And it's not like I can be watching Netflix and then have the security camera. Like, imagine you heard a
Right.
noise outside. You
Right.
turn on the camera, you make sure, I don't know. But sure, wouldn't it be just nice to have that on the bottom right or something
Yeah.
that, nope, can't do that. That's impossible.
Especially not you can't mix the audio channels. Apple would never allow that. The iPad to this day, you can't play 2 videos together. You can
No,
write a website and play 2 videos together, but can you have 2 apps play videos together? No.
no.
It's a weird thing. That's why I don't fully buy the interaction argument. Like, it's just I don't know. It's a weird decision, and I think we're stuck with it for historical reasons. This this modality of the TV that it's like you're in a purely passive environment or not. Like I think, especially with the younger generation growing up with tablets, I think they're going to demand a more versatile environment. Let's call it. Uh, it has to, because it's silly to have like so the Olympics are on. Not to date this episode,
Yeah.
but I've been trying to watch the Olympics, and I don't really get broadcast TV, so I've been having to try all the IPTV apps, and so TV's been a little bit on my mind. I have currently downloaded 3 apps extra in addition to all the TV watching apps that I already have in order to attempt to watch the Olympics. Do you know that NBC has an app called Peacock? I don't
Yeah.
think anyone subscribed, but I
No.
downloaded it. That they wanted me to buy it. I said nope, not doing that. NBC also has like some kind of TV app. That's good, separate from Peacock. Don't fully understand the brand synergy there, but that doesn't have Olympics. That just
No.
has little fun little montages and inspirational, emotional stories about Olympic athlete players. No, James, what you need is the NBC Sports app.
Oh,
That's
got it.
that's the
Yeah.
app. That's the app. And it comes with 30 minutes of free time. So 30 minutes a week I can watch the Olympics. So you have to sign up for NBC Sports, I guess. So I was feeling a little dejected at this point, and I'm like, the app ecosystem has failed me. I can't watch the Olympics. And then I saw this beautiful app from India. I forget what it's called, but let's just call it Joy Entertainment. It looked great. They said Olympics, watch Olympics anytime. I want to say the first thing out of all these apps I've downloaded so far, they all had the exact same user interface. The NBC ones, be ashamed, by the way, guys, and boys and girls both. Low resolution graphics do not fly in
Mm.
2024. Anyway, I downloaded this new app from India. I'm all excited. I am going to get the Indian version of the Olympics. And immediately you had to sign in and create an account. And their website didn't work, so I couldn't even create.
Oh.
I was going to create an account. I was all ready to watch the Olympics. I was so excited.
Oh.
And their website failed. So that's my report on the current state of IPTV streaming. It's going great.
It's
Going
super
great.
fascinating because Apple and the different services have done all this work for like solving TV as far as logging in. Like, you scan a QR code, you enter a code, you log in on your phone, and then it like magically
Yeah.
knows. You just
Yeah.
you don't want to do any input. Like you do this thing, do that thing. Entering text on a TV is terrible. And like, yeah, we have like a phone by us. And like, even though you can hover over a field and your iPhone's like, do you want to type right now? It's like, I gotta pull out my phone, I gotta do a thing. It's like they really haven't solved a lot of these fundamental issues of just using this device to what you're saying. And it's actually one of the most fascinating experiences to what you said is like almost every app that I have on my TV, the first thing you got to do is sign in. Like you can't do anything. It's everything.
Yeah.
Sign in, do that thing, and sign in and sign up and do this other thing. It's like it is a consumption device, and I guess that's what we want. I don't know, or is
Yeah.
that just what is restrictive? And you're right. Every single thing looks and feels exactly the same, for better or worse. That's
Yeah.
out there. When Hulu works a little bit different than Netflix versus a little bit different from Apple TV, like there's something to be said that you got to go now learn 3 different user interfaces just to watch a show, right? Especially like for me, I watch a lot of things with captions and I'm changing channels and they all work a little bit different. So I
Yeah.
feel as
Fast
though
forward.
while they do look a little bit the same, they're actually fundamentally like very different. I think it's actually a kind of a detriment in a way to the TV.
Well, yeah, and you kept saying the grid because, well, the grid we're all the most familiar with, I think, is the thumbnail grid where you're actually trying to pick a video or something.
Mhm.
But uh, in our current user interface system, what do you get? You get tab bar on the left where you get to choose 5-ish different sections of the app, and each of those tabs brings you into a grid view. It's a very sedate, boring, overly generalized user interface.
Yeah.
Tabs and grids of videos. And you see the people trying to differentiate themselves. Like, I don't know, like HBO will have my stuff and they used to have genres, but then they figured out, oh, we can't list out 20 genres. No one wants to click through 20 genres. So what did they do? Now they just have an icon every single video, and you're like, well, thanks. I guess I'll scroll through 100,000 icons here. Yeah, so you made an argument for the 10-foot experience and keeping that user interface simple and straight. And I love how this episode is just all over the place. We always get to talk into UX. I think we have settled into a very bad local minima of 5 categories and then icons.
Yeah.
And all these apps just do it because that's how the template is set up. Yeah, we need a little bit of a TV UI revolution.
The question is that AI? Is that why Google had to create the Google
It's
TV
not.
streamer?
It's
Because it
not.
needs the AI. I need
No,
AI.
it's
How
not.
much
It's
AI do I
not.
need in my TV?
Chase, I love AI. You know me. I've been promoting AI since 2017. No, AI cannot help here. This is a human studies thing, and we're failing both on the engineering side and as the humans being studied. We're failing on both sides.
We need some hits, some human interface design guidelines. Let's get this going.
Yes. Yeah.
I totally agree. I think it's fascinating. I think for me as a developer, developing and wanting to develop apps, are some things I'm interested in doing. However, I feel like there are these huge hurdles to get over. Now we're Olympics, so I'll say some hurdles. Haha, ding. And I can't vault my way onto the TV. But anyways,
Got it.
so the things that to
Wrestle this
me,
metaphor into place,
oh
please.
god, okay. Um, so the huge, like you said, is the graphics work that needs to be done, like the design, the image, the visualization on this. It needs to be pretty high res that's out there, and then also the interaction, right? So me actually figuring out the control scheme to get things in there. I think if I go into the TV space, I'm going to look and feel like a app that I'm normal on my phone. So I think that's a challenge I would love to learn to get over, to actually make the design, the human interface design, work really well on the TV. But I think the other thing I battle with is me as an app developer, the apps that I create that maybe are going to go on the phone or on the TV would actually be pretty limited by the fact of you know um, the restrictions of what the TV has. And I know also that when it comes to televisions and having something static on the screen and how these TVs are set up, you want things always to be moving and changing and as well. And I struggle with that. So to me, it seems odd that actually the television has a reduced scope of what actually you will use for your user interface. And yet it seems
Mm-hmm.
like the biggest challenge for me to go into.
Yeah. Yeah. I as I hate saying as app developers, but as app developers, we're used to interactive apps, so a dialogue with the user. I present a little info, they give me a little info. I present a little more info, they give me a little more info. That's not TV.
Yeah.
TV is entertain me. I'm
Yeah.
tired. I had a long day. Put me to sleep, entertain me, do something to me. And that's a whole different design space and requires a bit of different skills. It's not even like game development. Game development's the other end of the spectrum, purely interactive or 80% interactive. It is fun to think about on those terms though, and yeah, I mean now with the depth of Chromecast and the birth of the 10-year anniversary of Android TV, maybe I should take a look at it now that
Yeah.
it's a decade old. Maybe I should take a look.
Well, give it a go. And if you are building TV apps, we would be super interested. So definitely write into the show. Head over to mergeconflict.fm, hit the contact button. And also, if you're on YouTube, youtube.com/@mergeconflictfm, you can leave a comment on this episode. You can see Frank and I talking. And we read those comments every single week. So that's it. Maybe I'll play around with it more. I now that I have Visual Studio Code set up, and then I also have Android Studio installed, like maybe now, like I will actually go in and play around with it a little bit and check out what's happening over there and see what's changed. I bet it's exactly the same. I feel like nothing's changed.
Well, maybe they showed some kind of judo or other Olympic sport reference and improved it.
Oh, we'll see. All right. All right, Frank. All right, that's going to do it for this week's Merge Conflict. So until next time, I'm James Montemagno.
And I'm Frank Kruger. Thanks for watching and listening.
Peace.